Hare Krishna, devotees, Dhanvat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hari Bol to all the devotees who led the chanting today. Ritesh Prabhu, Pawan Prabhu, specifically. Okay, let's start with our Mangalacharan. Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Namaham Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminate Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna and happy Ekadashi, Putrada Ekadasi to all of you. So, like we said yesterday, this week we are celebrating our 1 year anniversary of reading Srila Prabhupada Lilamrta. We started in the first week of January on this particular day of Putrada Ekadasi. So, according to Tithi, Putrada Ekadasi has come twice in this year. So, that is very wonderful. It's a special year and it's a special way to celebrate. So, we sang a nice prayer glorifying everything that Srila Prabhupada has given us in our lives. And this prayer has been composed by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, who is a very dear disciple, very exalted devotee of the Lord and Srila Prabhupada. So let's continue with this prayer for this week, thanking Srila Prabhupada for everything, all the gifts that he has given us, the most precious, most important treasure that anybody can give, which is the Krishna Prem, love of God. And he came and he delivered all the people all around the world. So this prayer, this Vaishnava Bhajan glorifies Prabhupada's contributions and our gratefulness to him. So if Prabhupada would not have been there, we would have been rotting in this material world without any purpose, without any goal. So that is the that is the meaning of this prayer. So let's recite and then we'll read the translation. Yadi Prabhupada na hoito तबे की होई तो ये जीवन बहित की से यदि प्रभुपाद न होई तो तबे की होई तो ये जीवन बहित की से निताय गौरेरा पर करुणा केदिता सकल देशे निताय गौरेरा अपरा करुणा केदिता सकल देशे पाश्चात्यरायत पापी दुराचारी शून्यवादी मायावादी तदेरा उद्धार करिबारे मन हेना कौन दयानिधि तदेरा निकटे कौन जन आसी बिलाइत हरि नाम सबय जीव रूपे गदिते तदेरा के हित अगुयान देश देशे हरि विग्रह सेवा आरती रात्रि दीने रथ यात्रा आदि महोत्सव सब शिकायता कौन जाने गीता भागवत चैतन्य चरित प्रेमामृत रस सार कथन सुंदर सरल करिया कि बुझाई तार कत कष्ट सही प्रीतमाने रही केवदिता हरि नाम केदिता मादेरा पुरी वृंदावन मायापुर मत धाम परम मंगल श्री चैतन्य महा प्रभुराशिक्षाधान आचार्य प्रचारे सदा मादेरे के करित नियोजन प्रेम कल्पतरु निताई गौरेरा कृपा लभिबारे निरवधि जय पताका हृदय तुम्हारे शरण करे तुम्हारा शरण करे तुम्हारा शरण करे यदि प्रभुपाद न होई तो तभी की होई तो ये जीवन बहित केशे निताय गौरेरा परा करुणा किदिता सकल देशे यदि प्रभुपाद न होई तो तभी की होई तो ये जीवन बहित केशे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय His Holiness Shri Pataka Swami Maharaj ki jai. Okay, anyone would like to read the translation?
I can read.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
If Srila Prabhupada had not come, what would have happened? How could we have passed our lives? Who else would have distributed the unlimited mercy of Lord Nityananda and Lord Gauranga all over the world? Which other compassionate person would have endeavored to deliver the miscreants, sinful, impersonalistic, and voidistic people in the West? Who else would have come to distribute Harinam to them? Who else would have come forward to transform them into civilized beings? Who else would have taught them how to worship the deity form of Lord Hari day and night with Arti Kirtan, and how to conduct the Rath Yatra and other grand festivals? Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita contain the essence of the nectarian mellows of love of Godhead. Who else would have explained these scriptures so clearly and beautifully? Who else would have tolerated all difficulties and distributed Harinam with a pleasant heart? Who would have given us the dhams such as Mayapur, Vrindavan, and Jagannath Puri? The teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu constitute the greatest and most auspicious treasure. Who else would have engaged us in constantly practicing and preaching it? Sri Sri Nitai Gaura are desired trees of love of Godhead, desiring a drop of their mercy. Jai Pataka's heart incessantly takes shelter of your divine grace. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It's Divine Grace. Abhay Charanaravanda Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Shri Mataji, for reading this beautiful translation. Bengali as a language itself is so sweet. And when you sing, it almost feels like we are having two rasgullas in our mouth and singing. And then these translations also, gives us the deeper meaning of what these, because most of us, at least I don't know Bengali, but it's similar to Hindi in some aspect, but such deep meaning and such deep love that his disciples had for Srila Prabhupada, and how Jayapataka Swami Maharaj was kind of the thread, in the pearl, in the necklace, in Mayapur. He has kind of driven the movement in Mayapur, Sridhar Mayapur, and which is where everything started with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he is a very blessed soul, Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada told him that, preach, and one day you will help grow this movement many, many thousands of times. So thousands of disciples of Maharaj, and he has so nicely composed this prayer as a gratitude for his spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, and for all of us to follow in the footsteps of the acharyas of how we should be ever grateful. Like Prabhupada was always, he would sign his letters as your ever well wisher. So like that, we are also ever grateful to Srila Prabhupada. So yeah, we are like his children, all of us. He has created this wonderful family for all of us. Sometimes, like I was telling few devotees the other day, like when I had my surgery, many devotees prayed and many devotees helped. So it literally we never feel like, we don't have our family, our blood family members, our blood relations here in America, because this beautiful family that Srila Prabhupada has given us, are so deeply loving, caring for each other that we hardly feel an absence of our blood relatives here, because this is really a beautiful, beautiful family, this international society. And Prabhupada as kind of our eternal father for all of us, father, grandfather, so yeah, we are all his children. And on this day of Ekadashi, Putrada Ekadasi, is when we started this journey with Srila Prabhupada. So how beautiful that is, that, as little children, he's taking care of everyone in this wonderful society of ISKCON all over the world. And whoever sincerely follows Prabhupada and his teachings and his instructions and his Parampara's instructions, then yes, Prabhupada is personally there in his books, and he's personally there to guide us every single day as we get up, wake up, and we chant this Harinam, the most sublime, the most beautiful treasure, wonderful treasure in this world. There's nothing more powerful, nothing more beautiful, nothing more enriching, spiritually enriching than the Harinam. So that's what Prabhupada was teaching yesterday in this chapter 58 as we were reading, that our process is very simple, chanting, right? And this chanting, yes, if we believe it or not believe it, but yeah, if we do this sincerely, everything is there in the process of chanting the holy name. Just as a small seed, like we give the example, small seed has all the potency, right? This is like our oxygen, right? Like Prabhupada used to give the example earlier. In the olden days when they had to punish criminals, they would take them, they'll make them dip in the Black Sea, and it's like, imagine somebody who doesn't know swimming, and if they have to be put into the sea and without any oxygen for a few seconds, and then as soon as they would feel like they're drowning, and then they'll pick them up again. This is a form of punishment that was given in some countries earlier. So with that 5 seconds of time that you get to breathe again, you feel, oh, such a big relief, right? And then again you'll be put back into the sea, and then again you'll start feeling like drowning. So all our position in this material world is like that. We think we are feeling happy and joyful by enjoying all the material sense gratification, but it is just that temporary, fleeting happiness that we get for those 5 seconds, which feels like, it's basically the absence of misery that feels like happiness, but actually we are all suffering. So any intelligent, smart person, who has fine intellect will imagine this and will think deeply about this, that what are we trying to do here? Every life we come here, we build our own name, fame, property, paisa, bank balance, and then in split second, in half a second, you know, any time that half a second may come when everything will be stolen away from us. And then again, next life, and we don't even know what form of life we will get. And again, we have to start from zero. And we are doing this life after life, life after life. So any smart person will realize, why am I going through all this suffering again and again and again and again, right? What is the point of doing this? And then they will who sincerely follow our acharyas, then they will realize that, yes, this is not my eternal position. This is not what I'm meant to do. Right? My goal should be to end this cycle again. So that is what Harinam gives us. And if we sincerely chant, then yes, we develop our intelligence, we develop our spiritual bank balance, and we are able to finish all this business in this lifetime and go back. So Prabhupada is initiating all his disciples yesterday. He was giving them Brahman initiation, and also he was on these radio channels trying to distribute this knowledge to everybody. So let's continue chapter 58. The children on Chester Street would call out Hare Krishna whenever they saw Prabhupada come out of his apartment. They were making fun, but Prabhupada liked it. Once, when a devotee tried to stop the children, Prabhupada said, "Oh no, they are chanting Hare Krishna. That's all right." He said Chester Street should now be called Hare Krishna Street. It was in Swamiji's room one day on Hare Krishna Street that he accepted the name Prabhupada. While Govindadasi was taking dictation, Prabhupada mentioned that the affix G was a third class address. "Then why do we call you Swami Ji?" she asked. "What should we call you?" "A spiritual master," Prabhupada replied, "is usually addressed by names like Gurudev, Vishnupad, or Prabhupada." "May we call you Prabhupada?" she asked. "Yes," and Govindadasi told the others. At first, some of the devotees were reluctant to give up the long cherished Swamiji, which for them was a name of affection. "I heard we shouldn't use the name Swamiji anymore," one of the boys asked one morning on a walk. "Who said?" Prabhupada replied quickly. "They said you said it was third class and we shouldn't say it." "I never said that." "Then, can we use it?" "Yes, that is all right." But Swamiji soon disappeared. Rai Ram even printed an explanation in Back to Godhead. Prabhupada. The word Prabhupada is a term of utmost reverence in Vedic religious circles, and it signifies a great saint even amongst saints. The word actually has two meanings. First, one at whose feet, Pad, there are many Prabhus, a term meaning master which the disciples of a guru use in addressing each other. The second meaning is one who is always found at the lotus feet of Krishna, the Supreme Master. In the line of disciplic succession through which Krishna consciousness is conveyed to mankind, there have been a number of figures of such spiritual importance as to be called Prabhupada. Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada executed the will of his master, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and therefore he and his associate Goswamis are called Prabhupada. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur executed the will of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and therefore he is also addressed as Prabhupada. Our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad, Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, has in the same way executed the will of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada in carrying the message of love of Krishna to the Western world. And therefore, the humble servants of His divine grace from all the different centers of the Sankirtan movement are following in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada and prefer to address His grace as our spiritual master as Prabhupada. And he has kindly said yes. Prabhupada's next destination was fixed for Montreal. Satsvarupa, Pradyumna, and Jadurani, all of whom have drunk deeply of Prabhupada's personal association, got their last bearings directly from him. "I am scheduled to leave for Montreal in 2 days," Prabhupada said to Satsvarupa on a morning walk. "Is that all right?" Satsvarupa felt strange that Prabhupada would ask him for permission to leave. He also felt sad, but he could think of no way to detain him. As they walked, they passed a toy store displaying guns and battleships in the window. "This is the kind of thing we grew up with," Satsvarupa told Prabhupada. "But you grew up with Radha Krishna deities. Does this still affect us?" "Yes," Prabhupada said. "The impression is still there." "Prabhupada," Satsvarupa asked, "now that you are with us, we can ask you any necessary direction. But in the future, when you are not always with us, how can we get direction from you? Krishna's name is not different than Krishna. Do you understand?" "Yes," Satsvarupa replied, but he knew his understanding was only theoretical. He knew he would have to think more deeply on Prabhupada's answer. Prabhupada was indicating that by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna himself would be present, so the disciple could get direction from him by the grace of the spiritual master. In Jadurani's case, there was no doubt that she would continue painting. She had often gone to Prabhupada's house for detailed instructions. When she had shown him a just completed portrait of his own spiritual master sitting amidst trees and greenery, Prabhupada had commented, "You have put my Guru Maharaj in the American forest. He was never in such a forest." He told her to paint Lord Chaitanya in a garden scene, but not to copy the Indian print showing an Om sign and Radha and Krishna above Lord Chaitanya's head. "That is an artist's imagination," Prabhupada said. "This is the way Lord Chaitanya appeared in Navadvip. Don't change anything." And Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj should be colored as Indians are generally, a light brown, tan like wheat. Balaramji is colored milk white, with little bluish tint and rosy luster. Prabhupada also encouraged Pradyumna, telling him just what he wanted to hear. He should continue studying Sanskrit so that he could make transliterations for all of Prabhupada's work and eventually come to the standard of a good Sanskrit scholar for the Krishna consciousness movement. Pradyumna asked to come to Montreal with Prabhupada and learn more things from him. Prabhupada agreed. When the day came for Prabhupada's departure, the devotees accompanied him to the airport. In the departure lounge, an unknown boy suddenly appeared and sat at Prabhupada's feet. Can you see God? The boy asked. Yes, Prabhupada replied, at every moment. Are you liberated? Yes. Then if you are liberated, the boy challenged, why don't you go back to the spiritual world right now? Don't be crazy, said Prabhupada. We go when Krishna desires. We have already surrendered. So we shall all go when Krishna desires. We have just bought tickets for Montreal, so we are assured of going there. But it is not that as soon as we buy the tickets, we turn and say, where is Montreal? No. Everything will happen in due course. We have bought the tickets. We are waiting. Soon the plane will leave. Prabhupada advised the boy to stay with the devotees in the Boston temple and hear from them. In time, he said the boy would be able to understand. Jadurani. Govindadasi and I got on the plane with Prabhupada just so we could see him up to the last minute. His last words to us were from the Bhagavatam. He quoted two verses. Vasudeva para Veda, Vasudeva para Yoga, Vasudeva param Jnanam. This means that Krishna is the goal of yoga. He is the benefactor of fruitive activities. He is the cause of the Vedas. Krishna is everything. And I began to cry because Prabhupada was leaving. He reached over and passed his hand over my face. I asked him, Srila Prabhupada, sometimes when we ask you something and you give us permission, are you being like the super soul? Are you just giving us a sanction for what we want? Srila Prabhupada replied, when the spiritual master speaks, it is Krishna speaking. When Prabhupada got to Montreal, he wrote me a letter within a day or two saying, I am simply remembering your face when you were crying in the plane. And then he gave me an order. Please don't be agitated in any way. Krishna is always with you and he is always your friend. So many disturbing elements may enter into your life, but a devotee is never agitated. Chapter 59. A summer in Montreal. Montreal, June 3rd, 1968. In Montreal, Prabhupada often sang a Sanskrit prayer composed by a great Vaishnava, King Kulashekara. While walking around his room, sitting at his desk, or roaming through the house, he would sing to himself, and the others would hear him. He would chant it. It is a Sanskrit mantra, but to a tune of his own in a voice that dropped to a deep, low tone at the end of a line. Krishna tvadiya padapangaj panjarantam अद्यैव मे विशतु मानसराजहंसः प्राणप्रयाणसमये कफवातपित्तैः कण्ठावरोधनविधौ स्मरणं कुतस्ते. In India, almost 20 years ago, Srila Prabhupada had translated and written commentary on this and several other verses, the prayers of King Kulashekara, for his Back to Godhead newspaper. Now, during the summer of 1968, while still recovering from his heart attack of a year ago, he sang this particular verse often, and several times he explained its meaning to the devotees gathered in his room in the evening. Swans have a proclivity to stick their long necks underwater and wrap them around the stem of the lotus flower. So King Kulashekara is praying, my dear Krishna, may the swan of my mind enter the network of the stem of your lotus feet. He is praying to do so now, at the present moment, while he is healthy and can chant Hare Krishna and entangle his mind in Krishna's thought. Therefore, King Kulashekara wishes that he may die immediately because he fears that if he waits until later, when the time of death comes, he will be choking, the elements of his body will be disturbed, and there will be a death rattle like Gargar. How will it be possible then to remember Krishna? Prabhupada's health, however, had improved. Rising early, dictating Srimad Bhagavatam, going for morning walks, taking full lunch, he was the healthiest he had been in months. After lunch, he would nap. At least he would try, although many of the floorboards in the house would squeak loudly when stepped on. Later in the afternoon, he would often ask for watermelon or cantaloupe, and in the evening, either he would meet with devotees in his room or go to the temple for kirtana and a lecture. After returning at night, he would call for that puffed rice set, puffed rice, fried peanuts, fried potatoes, and slices of cucumber. So Prabhupada was well, yet more than once he remarked to his servants, if I become sick, do not take me to the hospital. Simply let me chant Hare Krishna and die. The summer of 1968 was a relaxed time, without many outside engagements. Prabhupada would spend most of his time in his apartment on Prince Arthur Street, a 5-minute walk from the temple. In his room, he would often meet with disciples visiting from various centers in the United States. Sometimes he would sit in a chair on the front lawn, speaking to visitors, or in the later morning, sit out back in the driveway while Gaurasundara massaged him. One day, while Prabhupada sat in the warm, late morning sun, some of his disciples came and sat on the ground at his feet. The sunshine is so powerful, Prabhupada explained. There are planets where the trees are miles tall and just being supported by the sunshine, and all the planets are supported by the sunshine. It is so powerful. One of Prabhupada's reasons for coming to Canada was to get permanent residency status in both Canada and the United States. While in Boston, he had received an order of denial from the immigration department directing him to leave the country. For the past 3 years, except for his 6 months in India, Prabhupada had managed to extend his stay in the US by extending his temporary visa. But now, on a technicality, he had been denied permanent residency. From Montreal, he wrote the district director of the US Immigration in Boston. In your order of denial, you have clearly mentioned in paragraph 4 that your denial order was not on the basis of my qualification of religious minister, but on your discretion for the reason that I submitted my application just after a fortnight of my arrival in the USA. Yeah. And I have the letters of confirmation with me. In your denial, in a notice of denial on May 3rd, 1968, you have mentioned that there is no appeal for this decision. As such, I did not prefer to appeal in this decision, but I left the USA as per your direction. Now I am simply requesting you to give me your valued direction what to do next. From Ramananda wrote Prabhupada from New York explaining his plan to get a lawyer and to appeal. But Prabhupada, now skeptical of US lawyers who took money and resolved nothing, chose instead to make a new application as a religious minister for ISKCON. Although US immigration had denied his application, ostensibly on the grounds that he had been in the wrong immigration status, Srila Prabhupada suspected that the State Department was not overly fond of Indian Swamis. I understand the government of USA is disgusted with so-called Swamis because they have exploited the people in so many ways. That is a fact. And if I would have been in the government, I would have also considered like that. So they have not a very good opinion about these rascal Swamis. Under the circumstances, it will be difficult to get me admitted as a Swami. Although I am not a Swami of the rascal group, but we have to prove it by action that this Swami is not like those Swamis. This remark was made by Mr. Alan Burke of the television company. He introduced me to the public as here is a real Swami, and he showed me all respectful compliments. Anyway, I'm not after respectful compliments by the public, but I'm concerned more about my disciples. I want to see them quite able to preach the sublime doctrine of Krishna consciousness, and therefore I wish to stay. Otherwise, I am not attracted for any place, either hell or heaven. Hare Krishna. Okay, I'll pause here. Yeah, so again and again, Prabhupada comes back to that theme that, what is the purpose, why he's here, right? He's here to spread this glorious movement that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to spread to every town and village. He's not here for cheap adoration or name and fame or words of praise from the public, right? He said, even in our reading previously, that our real goal should be to please Sri Krishna, right? That is the only certificate we need. We don't need any certificate from anybody else around us, our friends, our family, and the world around us. Because, like I said again, all of these things are temporary, are fleeting. They will come. Today, 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people will praise us. We may have millions of followers, right? But at the very next moment, those same people may criticize us. So again, sukha, dukha, hani, labh, all of these things, pleasure, pain, all of these will come, like seasons. So these are all temporary and they are changing. But the only thing constant is our eternal relationship with our Sri Guru, with Srila Prabhupada, with Sri Radha Krishna. And that nobody can take from us and that will never change. We just have to revive. It is also there dormant in all of our hearts. We just have to revive that eternal relationship. And that can be revived by the very simple process, like Prabhupada said, of chanting. In this day and age of Kali Yuga, Harir Nam, Harir Nam, Harir Nam, Eva Kevalam, Kalav Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Katiranyatha. With emphasis, when something is being repeated 3 times, generally we say one thing, but if you say it once, not twice, 3 times, that Harir Nam, Harir Nam, Harir Nam. Why is it being emphasized? It's emphasized 3 times because that is the way, and that is the way. Kalav Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranita. There's no other way, no other way, no other way. Right? So if again, like I said, if we have to really choose one thing, like I say again in devotional service, sometimes we overcomplicate our lives with too many things, right? So first and foremost, if we, like I say, Lord is Krishna is so great, Acharyas are so great, so how much respect we should show them, right? And if the first thing that we wake up in the morning and do and remember the holy names, chant the holy names, That is the best thing that we can do in our lives, to show that we are really grateful, to show that we are really sincere. So it's not easy, like people we've seen here in our congregation, everywhere around the world. It's very easy. It's not very easy. It seems very easy in terms of chanting, but if you have to do that, attentively, consistently, constantly, it is very difficult, right? We see people like we saw in the month of Kartik, everybody was in Josh, everybody was so eager, enthusiastic, right? But as soon as month of Kartik finished, that eagerness, that enthusiasm dwindles, right? But that is where the test comes. So if we are able to consistently do that, and I think many devotees have, senior devotees have heard from, spoken with me. Um, if you do this for 3 months, 1 month we saw, yeah, in the month of Kartik, if you just do for 1 month, still it is not. We see people did it for that month. Yes, of course, of course, nothing goes waste, and that is very, very auspicious, very, very nice that we did that. But but again, we see, people after that, devotees, you know, dropped, right? Even though it should actually have become a habit. The whole purpose of Kartik month is so that we can actually carry out those devotion services, forever throughout the year. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen, right? But if we try to, maybe, if you try to do it for 3 months consistently, try to do it for 3 months consistently, then we will see the difference, right? We'll really see. And so anyways, there's a lot of power in the holy name, and like I said, in this day and age, it is really the holy name that sustains us. And we see Prabhupada actually taught by his own personal example. He came to give this holy name. He says when he came on Jaladuta that the only thing that I don't have bhakti, I don't have Veda. His name was Bhakti Vedanta. Right? But he says again and again in such deep humility to Shri Krishna that I have no bhakti, I have no devotion, and I have no Veda, I have no knowledge. But the only thing that I have is strong attachment to the holy name. Bhakti nahi, Veda nahi, naam ek khub daro. The only thing that I have is strong attachment to your holy name, O Krishna. So if you so desire, then make the purport of my name come true. So he used to chant. When he came, he told his devotees to chant 64 rounds, right? And then devotees said, "Oh, Prabhupada, oh Swamiji, this is impossible." They tried for 1 or 2 days, and it was just not possible. Right? Chanting 64 rounds it's very difficult job. It almost takes 7 hours to chant, and so it was not feasible. Then Prabhupada came down to 32 rounds, and then they said, "Oh, Swami, this is not possible," right? And then finally Prabhupada settled on 16 rounds, and that also he said 16 rounds minimum. So he didn't stop us to chant more. Actually, the more we chant, the more our taste increases. The other day we were having a discussion: how do we get taste in chanting the name? The more we chant, the more the taste will come. The only thing is we need to chant attentively. That is the main thing. Chant attentively, and the most attentiveness that you can get, again, is the time of Brahma Muhurta. Just like riding a bicycle, right? You have to ride bicycle uphill, it is so difficult. Riding bicycle downhill is so easy. Or riding against the wind is so difficult. But when you're riding favorable towards the wind, it becomes so easy. So when we chant in the morning, all acharyas have shouted and given this, again and again to the top of their voice. They've told that we should chant in the Brahma Muhurta. Why? Because everything is favorable at that time, at this time of the hour, and we are able to get the most attention. So, and that is where the quality comes, and we have to focus more on quality. If you focus on quality, the quantity will automatically come. So, chanting in the Brahma Muhurta is the best. And Prabhupada, like I said, he has given us this 16 rounds minimum. And the more we chant, the more we develop taste. And yeah, so that is the process. So 16 rounds we should all try to do. Maharaj Kritu Prabhu was here. He told us, he inspired all of us. He said everybody should chant 16 rounds, right? No matter. So yeah, that should be the aim. At least 16 rounds we have to get to. And then the more we chant, the more we develop taste. And all our acharyas in the parampara have done that. Srila Prabhupada, he gave the example. He used to chant because no acharya would say, like, there is a story that, one mother would tell her son to stop eating. He was a diabetic. She will tell her to stop eating sweets, and he would not listen. He said, no, just he would not be able to do that. Then she takes him to her guru, and she tells him that please advise him not to eat. It's not good for his health. And then the guru doesn't tell him anything, but he tells her that, okay, you come back after a week, right? And then she goes, and then after that 1 week she comes back, and that time the guru tells her son not to eat, and then the son immediately stops. So the mother is really surprised. She said, "Oh, Maharaj, why did you not tell him this 1 week ago? Why did you tell him now?" And he says that, until 1 week ago, I was also eating sweets. So if I'm eating sweets, how can I tell him not to eat sweets, right? So now 1 week I have stopped, and now I'm able to say. So like that, acharyas, when they say, they are already doing that. They have been practicing that for many, many years. So Prabhupada himself was chanting 64 rounds. That is why he was asking his disciples to chant 64 rounds. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, he made a vow to chant 100 crores names. So, he would chant 192 rounds, which is equal to 3 lakh names per day, right? And then you multiply that by 30 days, it almost becomes 90 lakhs. But, he would make it 1 crore every month. So he would make up the remaining 10 lakhs in the rest of the hours in the day somehow, right? And so within 1 month he will do 1 crore. So then 12 months becomes 12 crores. So like that, in 9 years he did 100 crores, right? So that was the power. And so he would chant. Then same thing, keep going up the line, Gaur Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, these are all exalted Vaishnavas in our parampara. All of them would chant. We are struggling 16 rounds. Here are acharyas. They are chanting, 128, 192 rounds. Haridas Thakur is Namacharya, 192 rounds every single day for his life. So, we know that is the power. That is the power in this age with the holy names. So, again, 16 rounds is just a minimum. And many of us just struggle with 16 rounds. So, but yeah, that is where the power comes from. So, if we do that one thing, again, like I said, if we have to just pick one thing in our devotional sadhana, you do this one thing sincerely, you'll see how much power this has to bestow everything else in our lives. Hare Krishna. Okay, anybody else would like to say anything, share anything on this auspicious day of Ekadashi? I don't know, I didn't plan to speak all this, but somehow it just came out on the day of Putrada Ekadasi. Hare Krishna. Yes, anybody would like to say anything? Anything that has transformed in your lives in this 1 year of journeying with Srila Prabhupada? Mataji, Shriya Mataji, yes. Anybody?
Yes, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So I'm attending every Sunday this, one Mataji from Chile, I did like a Bhagavad Gita course with her, like she explains each and every verse, which took about 1.5 years to complete, and now she has started with Krishna book. So she invited one Prabhupada disciple, Nirantar Das Prabhu, um, because we are doing this 5 chapters, which are the most confidential, about the gopis and gopi and all that. So he was taking that lecture, and he was addressing some of our questions, and then I was just asking, sometimes we don't feel that connection, what could be the reason? And he said, Prabhupada always, I think he mentioned about Prabhupada, and he also told himself that humility is the key to everything, like no matter, he said, like, how many, people come to me or anything, I just remember one thing, that I'm nothing more than a blade of grass at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. He said, like, most of the problems come because we don't have the humility in us. So whenever you are stuck, he's like, you should ask yourself that, are you humble? And if you think you are humble, then you need to ask again, to yourself, that you are not that humble. And he said one of the reason could be that, and other thing he said is like, it was very beautiful. He said, like, sometimes Krishna wants you to hanker for him, like, no matter, because how he, ran out, like, hid from the gopis. So he's always doing that to increase the love of the devotees for him. So he's like, he was like, he just wants you to get through all those situations, and he has planned something for you. So just keep on going, keep on chanting, and you will find him one day. So he just explained it so beautifully. So just wanted to share that.
Mm, very nice. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, these Prabhupada disciples are speaking. This is like Navigyan, not just Gyan, right? Realized knowledge. Yes, they have realized in the last 50 years. And those who have stayed the path, yes, we see how their lives have transformed and how they have transformed the lives of so many thousands and thousands of more devotees, after them. So, yeah, like I said, humility is the topmost virtue. Like we were singing Sharanagati prayers last week. We said, Dainya Atmanivedana. It starts with humility. Because Mahaprabhu also says, you have amani namana dena, then kirtanya sadahari. So if we don't desire respect for ourselves, but we are eager to give respect to others for all the good qualities that other devotees have, then that is the mark of humility. And with that, we are able to chant the holy names offenselessly and consistently. Yes, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Yeah, so this prayer also that we are singing this week also, Jayapataka Maharaj is teaching us the process of Sharanagati, and he says that Tomara Sharana Kare, right? The last line. This is Tomara. Prabhupada's surrendering to his divine grace. Yes, so that is the process of surrender. It starts with humility. Thank you. Anybody else would like to say anything? Most of us on this call have been on this journey for the last year. Anything? Pavan Prabhuji and Ritesh Prabhu, I would like to compliment them. They are really, I've seen that consistency. Aarti Mataji, they, most of us have been on the call, on the journey, on and off. But yeah, Pavan Prabhuji, especially in terms of chanting, he starts. Vishwanath Prabhu, of course, we glorified him. He starts exactly at 4:30 every morning, and he wakes up even before that. He does his round before, but yeah, he starts the call at 4:30. Pavan Prabhuji and Ritesh Prabhu, they have been chanting so sincerely for many, many months now. Yeah. Yes, Nalan Prabhu, you'd like to say anything?
No, Prabhu, this is a really good journey, I can say, compared to last year, because last year we just came into this con. But this year, we tried our best to increase the rounds and all right. Last year we are doing only 8. This year 16, we have been doing like me and Pragya Mataji. So this is good progress, but that's what the connections we have to improve the next year. That's what I'm saying. So that is our next way of doing the things. So quantity we increase, but let's see, bring that quality next year.
Yeah. Yeah, chanting attentively, and again, like I said, try to do it in the morning hours. That's the best time. But yeah, we can slowly get there. It's a gradual journey.
Gradual journey.
It will not happen overnight. But yeah, we should have, like I said, the main thing that we should have is we should have the desire. We have a strong desire, then things will happen. Krishna will also help. Guru will help sitting in the heart.
Yeah, long way to go.
A long way to go, but Prabhupada says, the other day I was listening to a lecture by Prabhupada, and one disciple was asking the same question to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, we have committed so many sins, so many sins, what to speak in this lifetime before coming to Krishna consciousness, so many previous lifetimes. What will happen? How many lives we have to take before we will get purified, and Prabhupada says, not many lives, just 1 minute. Prabhupada says, very boldly says, just 1 minute. He says, if we take full shelter of the Lord, full surrender, like we're talking about here, with Dainya Atmani Vedana, humility, then it just takes 1 minute, Prabhupada says, and you'll be perfected. So yeah, and Prabhupada says, in this lifetime we can finish our business and go back home, back to Godhead. So it's really our determination, our enthusiasm, our patience, consistency, all these things again will come with attentive chanting. One root cause, if you have to come back to one thing that if you do properly, every problem will be solved, is attentive chanting. That is the root cause problem. That's what all our acharyas have told. many of Prabhupada disciples that I've heard, and yeah, just by practice, at least I can say with some conviction, I can say, like I said, when I went to Louisville, I met one devotee, he was just chanting 6 rounds, and he said one thing with conviction, he says, he's just been doing for 1 year. He says, with one conviction I have achieved in my life so far is that if I chant in the morning, that is the best. So like that, at least I can say, yeah, I have personally experienced in the last year or so that we have been chanting. Yes, if you chant in the morning hours, that is the best. You get the most attention, and that is where you get the quality, and then everything else starts to happen. Hare Krishna. Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Nalin Prabhu and Shri Mataji, for your reflections. So we'll pause here today. Thank you. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyavascha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavindi ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Putrada Ekadasi ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari
हरि बोल हरे
Thank you,
कृष्णा
Prabhu.
सबको दंडवत प्रणाम हरे कृष्णा
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.